Good morning, Pepin Falcons, and welcome to another edition of Math is More Than Fun at Pepin. I am Mr. Newber, your host, and I'm not going to wear this today because there's no one else in here. I want to do something real quick, and that's cover all of this math right here. I'm watching the clock. I'm going to try. I may have to do 2 or 3 videos to get through it. I want to start with one thing, and that is what numbers are. Numbers are simply symbols for a concept of a real thing. These are real, aren't they? If I took the cap off of these and stuck them in my mouth and started chewing on them, you'd be alarmed because this is actually a dry erase marker. It actually is. Look, it's real. Okay? It's actually real. But if I'm counting these, I'm going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm going to say that I have 7 of them. All right? So I can put this up here and use this number. That's all that number is. It's a symbol for something that is tangible. All right? If I wanted to say how many of these markers are colors, you would say 5 of them are. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then I would put a 5 up there. If I put a 5 up here, if I put a 5 up here, I have 5 colored markers. How many black markers do I have here? Well, I have 2, but another way I could do it is to use an operation and come up with 2 that way. All 7 of them, minus the 5 colored ones, leave me 2 black ones. All right, there's nothing here except numbers. They're all right here in my hand. But if I want to talk about the last time you saw me, I was home doing this, and I have markers there too. And I wanted to talk about those markers. What am I going to do? I'm not going to stop the video and drive home and start that video there. I'm just going to put numbers on the board. That's all these are numbers. And they are consecutive numbers. Let's see how they are consecutive. No, I do not have an eraser. But the secret is I didn't use an eraser when I did these in my home last spring either. All right, let's go in here and see this, the number line. What is a number line? Well, if these did not represent actual objects, we would never be able to use numbers to figure out where we are. This is very simply a number line. If you took a sheet of paper and you drew a number line, that's going to be your number line. That's going to start where you want it to start. It's going to end where you want it to. If you don't like negative numbers, you don't have to have negative numbers on your number line. I can start here with a 1, and then a 2, and a 3. You get the idea, right? And I am actually able to do my math on the number line if I don't understand the operations, adding, subtracting, multiplying, and dividing. So here's my 2 black markers. And here's 4 of my 5 other markers. If I add them together, 2 and 4 of them, I get 6. I end up at 6. I start with 2 and then add 1, 2, 3, and 4 to it, and I get 6. Well, most of you understand that 4 plus 2 is 6. But you see what I mean? We can use a number line, especially when we come to the concept of what negative numbers are. Because once again, we would simply draw a number line. And now I'm going to put a 0 on this number line because look, in my hands right now, I have no markers. That's 0. So where is 0 in this number line? Well, if it's your number line, it's anywhere you want it to be. This is my number line right here. MN, there's my initials, right? And I'm going to pick a place for my number line. Watch how complicated this is. There it is. There's my 0. You see how complicated that wasn't very complicated, was it? All right, now I can count this, and I can make my spaces as wide or as small as I want to. But if I want to get into the fact that I am missing 3, I have room for that. I am missing 2 of my markers because I had 2 really pretty pink ones in here. And I like using the pink ones for some of my various, so my pink ones are gone. They're gone. somebody subtracted 2 of my pink ones. I need to be able to demonstrate that on a number line. And so here we go. Here's a -1, and here's -2. These 2 right here were my pink one. So anytime you do a number line, you can put a 0 here. This side, generally, on the left is accepted as a negative. This side is accepted as positive numbers. And if you have problems combining positive and negative numbers, I guarantee you won't have problems on a number line combining them. And we can get into that and do it. And this is why when you get into higher levels of math and you use a graph, generally accepted, the negative numbers are on the left, the positive numbers are on the right, and another axis is where the 0 is. All right, this is just all basic. So far we haven't done any work yet, but then if I wanted to count my other markers, I would just simply do it this way and count out this way. All right, they have a representation on this line. The next thing we want to do is, well, what if we're measuring something? What if we're measuring days? We're measuring days, all right? And instead of markers, we're talking about something, we can't have negative days, so we'll take this off. We're talking about the amount of time that is spent perhaps cooking and eating, all right? And if you eat like I do, none of you eat like I do. But here, so we're talking about, we're going to start tomorrow. So that's our starting point, and then 1 day later, and then 2 days later, and 3 days later, and so on. And right here, between these 2 days, I cooked a really big meal, and then I took my time eating it. And I took half of the day. I took half the day. So everybody knows what half means. Most people recognize what that is. And most people understand that this fraction is also this decimal. Most everybody knows. Do you remember last spring when I did, when I stopped the video and went out, came back in and had shaved my beard off on one side? And I said I wanted you to remember the easiest fraction in the world, in the Western world anyway, is this one. Because everybody understands what you do if you break something in half. Wait right there. I'm looking around, I don't want to go. But you know what this is? If I broke that in half, I'm going to break it in half, and this piece is going to be as long as this piece. But together, they're the length of one pencil. So 1/2, we're going to look at fractions again, and we're going to start with this basic understanding. We know what that is. Everybody knows what that is. I'm going to take half the period and do this, and then half of this period and do this with this people. Everybody knows what I mean. So we're going to use that with that understanding. We also know that these are related to decimals. There is a decimal that you can write that decimal as a fraction, and the decimals is when you come into money. Money is all decimals. And there's also a decimal point. Generally, don't see more than the tens and the cents over here, and then the dollars over here. But everybody understands what money does, so we're going to understand how to count money, and it might help you keep a hold of it. And then also measurements. When you measure something, everybody, wait again. Sorry, you can tell I'm kind of doing this in a hurry. Everybody knows what this is. Everybody's been using this since what, 2nd grade? No, I was in a 3rd grade classroom and they had these. This is a ruler. And you know that these are broken up and the inches are broken up here. And so you need to go less than 1 unit. I mean, if all we had were inches, how are you going to measure something that's smaller than an inch? How are you going to do that? So we also break them up for this. And then the last one is operations. How do we add these things together? How do we subtract them? When do we multiply them? Why would we divide them? All right, we're going to do that too. So I'm going to take each of these as a kind of an overarching concept and topic, and we're going to break it down and then go from there and take steps to understand how all of these are functional, and all of them are possible when you understand the concept of consecutive integers. and a number line, okay? I will see you on the next video.